All right. We are up and running. As he read out the gates, Eric Salamander has redeemed a save reminder. Okay. I will quick save right now as I'm looking at OBS. Let's jump over to the chill stream or tier list layout and get started on the terrible opinions, shall we? Ooh, don't need the hat anymore. Okay. Let me turn on the BGM. We'll have a mix of different BGM tracks going in the background. Sour Lad says controversy. Hey, Draft's here. What's up, Draft? Hey, Corbreak's here. Corbreak says, Rock, I'm going back to Taekwondo this summer. I'm so hyped. Oh, nice. Make sure to keep the kicks high. All right. What are we doing today? Similar to our previous streams we've done, I will be going through tier lists and providing my opinions and probably getting canceled for said opinions. But we're starting off today with something a little bit different. I've got 4 of them here. We're going to go through these first 2 that were created by Wazy, and then we'll see how much we have time for on these other ones. Corvick says, hey, one of those is a pic of Wazy. Draft says, my lab coat is covered in hydrogen peroxide and yeast. Now I gotta wash it. Ooh. I'll bet that isn't pleasant. But as Corebreak pointed out, this first one was created by Wazy, and it's called Things Wazy Hates or Is Afraid of. And I can put the link to this one in chat. Let me see if just copying this part of the link will be fine. If you folks want to fill this out and then send it to her on Twitter, I'm sure she'd get a kick out of that. Yeah, so let's do this. So what this is, from what I see here, is a collection of things that she has strong opinions, negative opinions on, and then we have another one she made that's things she likes. So I think between my opinions on both of those sets of things, I'm probably going to get in trouble, but that's okay. She's not here. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Some of these I need to kind of interpret, but we'll do our best. This first one, metal on metal, I'm assuming that's the noise of metal on metal. I don't think anybody likes that. I will concur. Metal on metal sounds suck. And there are duplicates here. She updated this thing recently, so we'll just disregard everything from, looks like coconuts. These are all just duplicates, so we'll rank everything up to that point. Next one is, this is a syringe, so needles, shots, stuff like that. I don't mind needles. Not my favorite thing in the world. I don't think anybody likes getting shots, but it doesn't bother me. I think going through the whole COVID experience definitely helped, but to me it's not a big deal. Next one, cubbed watermelon. I think she meant cubed. If nothing else, I'll be roasting Wazy for her bad spelling on some of these captions. Cubed watermelon. Cubed watermelon's good, especially if it's been properly chilled on a warm day. There's no issue with that. Next up, koalas. Oh yeah, we've got animals on here. I have no opinion on koalas. They're kind of a useless, dumb animal, but I don't have any animosity towards them. Eric says, I like needles. It's like getting stabbed by small people. Course says there's no third dimension cubes, don't exist. And Coral says koalas got smooth brains. Yeah, koalas are dumb animals. Their eating habits are pretty funny, and they can be subject to their environment and suffer as a result of just not having the ability to adapt. But I don't hate them. Next up, dolphins. Uh, I had no real opinion on dolphins at all until I heard that they're dirty, horny animals. But I still have, you know, no real animosity towards them. I wouldn't trust them or trust myself to be around them. I think sharks are cooler. They're not on this list here, but sharks would be at the top tier. It's one of my favorite types of animals. And I see Wazy is here. We have summoned the spirit of vengeance. Wazy says koalas have syphilis. I did read that. All right, what else we got? Next up, we have ahegao shirts or attire. Yeah, I can't defend that. I personally don't know anybody who owns one, but I've always said people who wear these and will wear them out in public fear nothing. And it's definitely not classy. I think the idea of them is pretty funny, but they're not classy. Hey, Corbett redeemed a Raku Faktu. Let us go grab the list, which I need to go and update before I run out of facts. Here's one. I don't think I've ever talked about this really, but I cannot grow facial hair. For whatever reasons, this human body that I inhabit cannot grow facial hair, so I can never have a big manly beard or a cool mustache. It just doesn't happen. And I cut my chin open a long time ago, which I've talked about on stream before, so my chin has a spot that won't ever grow hair, so it's just a curse that I have to live with. Draft says celebrities used to hire whoever is on the PR team of Dolphins because they are real a-holes, but everyone loves them. That's because people think of like Flipper and all of the sort of endearing interpretations of dolphins in media, and no one ever talks about their crazy horny sex habits. Otherwise, people would definitely not have quite as family-friendly opinion of them. That's okay. Eric says, by the way, chat, I might get the newest Lego Daily Bugle set? Like Spider-Man? Core says, I can only grow facial hair except on my chin. Oh, not except. I see. I have come to terms with the fact that I can't grow facial hair. It's fine. Hey, Edward's here. Edward says, is this a Wazy's Opinions tier list? So this is a things Wazy hates or is afraid of list, and then we have another one after this, which is things she likes. So we will see where my opinions take me. I've seen this before, this tier list, but she updated it with some more stuff. So Cora says, Wazy, I don't see rabbits. Oh, rabbits are on here. There's a bunny down here. We'll get there. Next up, we have Zatch Bell. I only know Zatch Bell by name. I know nothing about the show or property other than what we've talked about on Salt Table Sessions. I'm going to put it in never heard of it just because I don't know anything about the show. I just know it by name. From what I gather, it's about like a weird doll person. Next up, Inuyasha. Inuyasha, I don't mind. I read it a long time ago, but it was not appearing to have an ending in sight, so I noped out of the series and never finished it, and I didn't really watch it. But I liked what I read. It was fine. I should go back and finish it at some point so I could see what happened with the story. Eric says, Wazy, you should add getting paid there too. Draft says, things Wazy is afraid of, proper usage of grammar and or spelling. That's okay. Corebreak says, I used to buy this manga for Inuyasha. Yeah, I was buying it for a while too, and then I think it's either Viz or one of the other manga publishers changed the format of the books. And so I had different sized manga volumes, and then I stopped buying it and started reading it online. I really don't like it when publishers do that because it screws up the whole collection. Wazy says, I hate bingo bangles, not money. I think she would still be upset even if she had no alerts and people still threw money at her. Next up, math. I suck at math and I do not like it. I will concur and say math sucks. I definitely struggled with math in Earth School. And there's no fresher hell than third level calculus. Ugh. Next up, what is this? Like, is this supposed to be a road, Wazy? Like a gravel road? It's a good thing she's here because I can clarify what some of these mean. I will put gravel road. Okay, I was right. I'm totally indifferent to gravel road. Tempted to put it on this rocks for the pun, but I don't have gravel roads where I live, really. Edward says, is there a mint chocolate on the list? Mint chocolate chip ice cream's down here, Edward. This thing that looks like a big ball of wasabi. Yeah, that's the ice cream. Sourlad says, tiny rocks in your shoes. Yeah, that's true. That's a little bit annoying, but you can just take them out. Next up, we got pineapple. Of course, we have pineapple. I like pineapple. My favorite way to eat pineapple, which I've talked about on stream before, is grilled. Grilled pineapple at a place like a Brazilian steakhouse where they season it and they grill it over a fire and then slice it is top tier. Canned pineapple is kind of gross. I won't defend that. But fresh pineapple or chilled fresh pineapple, fantastic. I've had to prep pineapple before too. That's not fun. If you have to work in a kitchen environment and prep pineapple for serving in like a fruit bar or something, that's not fun because you have to take the outer rind off and they have a bazillion seeds underneath that rind. They look like little eyes, and you got to take all those out in order to serve them. That sucks, but other than that, I like pineapple. Corbrick says, but Raku, you know that pineapple produces digestive enzymes? Well, yeah, so do people, and I don't hate people. Sarlad says to Waz, you're just scared because you know about the one fruit that fights back. Draft says, grow some thicker skin. And Draft also says I could just grab it off the floor and throw it at people. All right, next up, robot police dogs. They're fine. I know more about the technology for these robot dogs because Michael Reeves is one of my favorite YouTubers, and seeing the funny stuff he did with one of these models was pretty funny. What if they can adapt the tech so that real dogs aren't in harm's way? I think that's good. Next up, we've got a dilly bar. We all are very well aware that Wazy doesn't like dilly bars. I've never had one, so I'm going to put it in the never heard of it. Let's do this just to make it a little bit clearer. Let's do never heard of / tried. This will be our catch-all for things that I just have no experience with. I think I would be pretty indifferent to a dilly bar, but I've never tried one because Dairy Queens just don't exist where I live. But I would try one just to have an opinion. Corbrick says, I don't eat pineapple because I hate the texture and taste. Yeah, that's fair. Again, I think everyone should try grilled pineapple once from like a Brazilian place. It's very different. All right. Next up, we've got Aero bars. I had not tried these until recently. We don't have these here where I live in the States. They're a Nestle product, but this is a Canada thing from what I understand. And I've recently had the chance to try a bunch of Canadian snacks. So Aero, I'm going to put down here on the bottom of Don't Mind It. It's basically like Nestle's chocolate, but it's got a really bubbly, airy texture so that, you know, when you bite into it, it's kind of light. It's not crispy or anything, but it's just kind of light, airy texture. It's a gimmick. Other than that, it tastes like every other type of Nestle chocolate. So, you know, would I ever go out and buy an Aero bar? Nah. Nothing special. But do I dislike it? No. You know, it's just chocolate. I think Wazy's argument is because of the way it's made, where they're basically filling it full of air, is you're getting ripped off and paying for air. That's valid. I agree with that. But as far as consuming the product, pretty meh. Next up, we've got NFTs. NFTs suck. I will never defend NFTs. I think they're a dumb idea, and in the case of art NFTs, I think they're destructive for the art community. There are some forms of NFTs that aren't scams, that are more about owning virtual property or things part of an IP. Maybe if it's not a pyramid scheme, I hate those less, but overall the concept is dumb. I think it's a stupid concept, and most of the time it's just a way to scam people out of their money. It's digital snake oil. Next up, we've got, this is a ball jointed doll. And I really have no opinion of these, but I did want to show off something because I knew this one was coming. Let me see if I could find real quick. a link to something I did get a long time ago. And I'll put it up on screen to kind of show off. And I'd be curious to see if any of the artists here have heard of this product. Let me try and log into a different account here so I can get a link. Hopefully the site is still here. Ah, yeah, here it is. All right, let me put this on a new tab and then I will show you folks what I'm talking about. This product, which you should be able to see on the screen here, is called the SFBT. And what it is a reference slash model tool that you can use for drawing. And let's see, I've been to this site in forever. And I might have to zoom in. Oh, here we go. So what this thing is, it's a fully articulated figure. This is the female version, and it's about maybe a foot and change tall, so it's decently large compared to some other ones. And the thing that's interesting about this product is it is literally articulated everywhere versus some of the other ones I've seen that are head and limbs and a little bit of torso. This thing is extremely versatile in how you can make it pose and stand, and even the fingers, which you could sort of see in a picture like this one. Each of the digits has 1, 2, 3 knuckle articulation points, so you can learn how to draw hands by doing different configurations, and this thing will stand on its own, support its own weight. It's a really neat product. Wazy says her boobs aren't articulated. It's hard to tell on this because this might be the version before the one that I have, which is just a plate. The later ones are actually articulated too, so they move. They move with the rest of the parts of the body. Like if they'll go up if the arms are up or whatnot. Even the toes have articulation points on them too. Very neat product. Here's a good example of like the head to toe articulation on it. And these things are extremely expensive. And it took 6 months to order one since they're made to order out of a company in Japan. I wonder if they're still selling them. Huh. They haven't updated this site in a while. I don't know if they're still actively selling these. They sell them through like a doll manufacturer on Topic. But this thing costs like $500, but it's a pretty neat art tool. Hey, Iconic is swinging through. Iconic says, can't stay, sadly, but hope you have an awesome stream. Hey, Iconic, thanks for stopping by. You're tuning in just in time to sidebar on interesting art doll tools, and I'm going back to getting canceled. Okay, next up, we've got... I can't remember if this was on the previous version of this. Raid Shadow Legends. I like Raid Shadow Legends. And there's nothing you folks can do to stop me. I'll probably never be sponsored by them because I'm not important enough. And everything I've seen shows that their sponsorship programs are a little shady, depending on which agency you deal with. But I enjoy that game. Next up, we've got butter. I'm taking a look at the back and forth in chat about body parts. There are many opinions. We welcome many opinions. Next up, this is just butter in general, I think. Uh, it would have been nice if this was separated into types of butter, like salted versus unsalted, since I use them differently. But I like butter. It's useful in cooking. I don't just eat sticks of butter by themselves, because that's a little weird. But I don't know if that's a controversial opinion. Wazy says, I had to scoop it out of a pail like it was ice cream. Butter hurts me. That's not really the product's fault, though. That's the container's fault, you would think. Again, butter's great in cooking. I'm trying to learn how to bake, and butter's pretty important. I buy mine in packages kind of like this, and I tend to use more unsalted than salted butter just in the stuff I cook. Next up, beer. This is beer. I don't like beer. I think I've talked about that on previous streams, like the alcohol one we did way back. Might have even been on YouTube. But yeah, can't get into beer. Don't like the taste. For those that are old enough to drink that have tried it, I understand it just depends on your preferences, but beer and wine are two things I don't like. I've tried and I've been subject to quote unquote good beer or like microbrews or special import ones from people I know that are connoisseurs, and I offended the whole lot of them by saying it tasted like Bud Light. I can't tell the difference. I just don't like the malty flavor of beer. Oh, I see. Wazy's talking about butter experiences working in a theater. That's right. Putting the popcorn into the or popcorn butter into the thing. That would kind of suck. But to me, that really has nothing to do with the actual product you're consuming. Next up, I don't know who this is. I think I said this before, and I can't remember what the clarification was. Someone told me, I forgot. Um, so, homeboy's going down here and never heard of. Corebreak says it's Todd Howard. I don't know who Todd Howard is. Okay, he's a video game designer. Works at Bethesda. He worked on Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Okay. Two series that I've never really played. He will sit comfortably in the tier. Moving on, we've got Bejeweled, the game that started the whole genre of match threes puzzle games. That's fine. I played it a little bit back when PopCap games was a thing. I liked Puzzle Quest, which was a DS game. DS game because of the screens. That was really fun. Regular Bejeweled is not that interesting to me now, but you know. Walsey says, "How do I not know who Todd Howard is? I haven't played the games he's worked on. I haven't played Fallout, and I haven't played Elder Scrolls." Corbrick says, "Yo, did you ever play Alchemy on PopCap?" Yes, I did play Alchemy. There was another one. Uh, there was another big game on that title I played, but I can't remember which one it was. I used to play that on a browser way back in Earth School. It wasn't Zuma. It was something else. I can't remember. It's been ages since I've thought of those old Flash games. Moving on. Silence is F in chat for PopCap after the EA takeover. Yeah, that was about when I stopped caring about the stuff on their platform. Unfortunate. Next up, I think this is Pickles. This is gonna be a rating for pickles in general as opposed to a specific type. I like pickles. I've gone on record before saying my favorite type of pickles are bread and butter. Dill pickles are fine, and sweet pickles are also fine. But bread and butter are my favorite for things like sandwiches. But outside of regular pickles, things like Asian pickles or kimchi is also what I lump under this category. And like tsukemono in Japanese cooking and kimchi in Korean, good stuff. Pickled garlic. Pickled garlic is also pretty common in a lot of Asian cuisine. I do like pickled garlic. Draft says pickles suck. They're just cucumbers. Well, not. That's why I'm lumping in all types of pickled things in here, not just cucumber-based ones. Kimchi can be cabbage or cucumber. Tsukemono is usually mustard greens or like a cabbage. I don't think I'd ever eat them by themselves, but as an accompaniment or a side, good stuff. Of course, says brined cucumbers. Eric says, I like them, but I prefer them in sandwiches, subs, burgers. Yeah. Cold sandwiches with bread and butter pickles are top tier. Next up, we've got Wazy. Of course, she would put herself into a tier list. I'm going to go against the grain on this one. And I'm going to say Wazy rocks. We like to meme around and talk a lot of smack, but I like Wazy. And I like her community. All of you folks that have come over to hang out every once in a while are good, chill people. If she had a bad community, then I would absolutely put her on never heard of her. But I know this is bait. She wanted me to put her on This Sucks, but I have outplayed you. Too bad there isn't a way to pin links for those that have jumped on more recently. I did put a link to this tier list. I encourage everyone else to fill these out too, and then send them to Wazy on Twitter. Next up, we've got green or pimento olives. I do not like these. They're tolerable in things like a martini, but I prefer black olives, and even then, black olives on select things. Green olives are a bit too kind of briny. Not a fan of the taste of pimento olives. Sour Lad's got the list of, or the link to the tier list for folks who jumped on recently. Thank you, Sour. Oh, I see Wazi and I are in agreement. Yeah, green olives just, again, in some like a martini, maybe I'll have one, but I really don't like the taste of them. Next up, we got rabbits. Just rabbits in general. I don't mind rabbits. I got no beef with them. They've never chased me for a great distance and tried to attack me, so I have no beef with rabbits. Eric says you guys have never tried a true Mediterranean olive. All right, so this entry here, before we move on, I'm lumping green pimento olives here on this tier because I like black olives and I like Kalamata olives. Kalamata olives, which are like a Greek Mediterranean marinated olive, they're very different in flavor and they're much stronger, but they're great in things like Greek salads. You throw some diced Kalamata olives into something with, maybe cucumber or feta cheese and some greens and like a vinaigrette. Yeah, Kalamata olives are great. You could sort of blend them up and make like a tapenade, have that on crackers, also pretty decent. So if those were on here, if the rest of the olive types were on here, Kalamatas would be on this rocks. Those are great. Green ones, just not a fan. All right, now we're moving on to mint chocolate chip ice cream. Don't mind it. Not my first choice. I know Wazy hates mint chocolate chip ice cream. We've heard it a million times. It's not my first choice. It'd be pretty low on my list of flavors of ice cream I'd seek out. But if I was, at someone's house and they were serving dessert and they put some of this in a bowl and gave it to me, I wouldn't throw it back in their faces. I see Cor says green olives with pimentos are delicious. Eric says Tawazi, try Spanish olives. They're better. Every Mediterranean nation uses stuff to ferment them, and even the ground changes the flavor. Yeah, that would most likely be what I've had in Kalamatas. Let's see. Cor says arm yourself with leafy greens and make friends with your enemy. Also, Draft says, fun fact, rabbits eat their own feces because they don't get enough nutrients from their food on their first time eating it. That's freaking gross. Eric says olives with crackers. I was talking specifically about tapenade. Tapenade is like a spread made out of Kalamata olives. It's usually used on appetizers. Maybe something like kind of similar to a bruschetta. All right. Moving on, we have spicy water, soda. I don't drink soda anymore, but I didn't mind it when I did. In Earth School, I drank a lot of caffeine and a decent amount of soda. I don't need the sugar, so that's why I don't drink it now. But I also haven't been subject to the god awful abomination flavors that Wazi has. But if I'm at a function again and someone says, we have sodas here in a cooler for drinking, I would have one. Again, wouldn't seek it out, but wouldn't toss it away. Core says, it's bad for you, but I still love soda. Yeah, for me, it's a lot of the caffeine. I can't drink caffeine at all. But, again, if it's around, maybe I'll have one. But I try and avoid soda purely based on the sugar. Next up, we've got a vacuum. I like my vacuum. I was doing a lot of vacuuming yesterday when I was cleaning my house. I know why this is on the list. I don't have a fear of vacuums because the ones I use aren't. I don't know what you call this type of vacuum that has like a bag. The one I have is a canister. So it the actual receptacle that everything deposits into is not like a bag. It's just an upright cylinder of plastic that the filter dumps everything into. So that can't explode because it's not hermetically sealed. It just is a container. This one, like in the example here, is like a bag-based ones. Technically, they could explode, but if you just change the bag and make sure it never gets clogged, it's not really that likely. Not saying it's an illegitimate fear, Wazy. It's just never really something that I've thought about, and I had to do a lot of vacuuming. Eric says, "Oh yeah, happy May 4th." It is still May 3rd where I live, but if you're in the European time zone, it is indeed funny Star Wars number day. Okay, next up we've got Bits Blight. Why did Wazy put bits on the list here? I'm going to assume this is birds and not the actual person. I don't mind birds. I don't live in an area prone to Canadian geese, which is probably why I don't hate them. But outside of the bad disposition birds, I think they're fine. Don't forget, birds are the current cousins or descendants of dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are rad. So I got no beef with birds. Wazy says birds attacked me. It is remarkable how many of your disliked animals stem from encounters and attacks, Wazy. I don't know if you've ever been attacked by a koala or a dolphin, but we've heard the stories about the rabbits, and I think you've talked about birds before. Again, Canadian geese. Canadian geese are terrible. Those are horrid creatures, which is really at odds with the mild-mannered, constantly apologetic Canadians that live in the country, but they're geese. Geese are jerks. Corbreak says birds can be mean. They can. I think Canadian geese are the most noteworthy as far as aggressive birds, but for the most part, maybe seagulls. Seagulls are kind of obnoxious too. But my counterpoint to this is I used to see a lot of crows in the area where I went to school, and crows are cool. They're very smart, and watching them come up with all sorts of ways to adapt things like traffic to eating and getting food, it was really neat to watch. I don't know if I told this story, but I used to live in a big city when I was going to school, and there were tons of intersections and whatnot where there was decent traffic. And a route I'd walked home from passed through a fairly busy intersection, and every once in a while, I would watch the crows hang out on the power lines or on the signals above the intersection. And what they would do is they would watch the patterns of the cars, and then once there was no traffic, they would fly down and put something like a nut or a seed in the road, in the path of where the cars would travel, fly back up, and wait for them to drive over and break the nut or seed, and then go and eat it. And if they would place the object in a spot where the cars would miss, they'd wait till it was clear, and then go and adjust it and move it into position, go back up and wait until they got the end result. And I watched the crows teach each other how to do it, and it was really neat. They're very smart animals. They can adapt tools and use them to get food. So that was kind of neat to watch. All right, next up we've got Quinoa. Isn't that a PS1 game? A little purple character. Quinoa, I don't cook with often, but it is a pretty good versatile grain. It's a super grain, I believe. You can use it like a rice. You can make it cold and use it in salads. It's pretty good for you. I'm just going to put this up here by Watermelon. Eric says, did I ever tell you that I slapped a goose once? No, you didn't, Eric. I hope you made it out of that encounter and hope there wasn't more than one. Zarlat says, have you ever seen the black ocean of crows in the sky? Yes, I have seen large migration patterns of crows flying around. It's like a sheet. A sheet of crows, or a murder. That's the name of a group of crows, which is kind of cool. Alright, let's see. We're in the latter half of the tier list here. Next up we have cocoa nuts. I like coconuts. I have had fresh coconuts right off the tree in Hawaii before, when I've been to Hawaii. And fresh coconut milk and the soft spoon meat on the inside from fresh off the tree coconuts is great. Chilled. Fantastic. I know Wazy dislikes coconuts. She has told me before. But I take some comfort in the fact that Matt likes coconuts because Matt has very good taste. Eric says, on the topic of geese, I slapped one, so I waited for his bread. So I slapped one, so it waited for his bread. And then further down, Eric says, I slapped it, gave the baby duck some bread, and then threw some of the bread to the goose. Basically, told it to wait its turn. Canadian geese specifically have like sharp teeth in their mouth too. They bite you. It's not fun. And they're super aggro. Regular geese, probably not so much, but they're very angry animals. Cora says, I got attacked by a goose once while on my bike. I lifted a 60-pound bike over my head. So it must have been hysterical strength or adrenaline and scared the goose off. Well, that's one way to deal with it. Again, one-on-one, even though they can be really aggressive, not bad. But if you get mobbed by several at once, I've seen some pretty funny videos of people picking a fight with one like Canadian goose and not realizing its homies are hanging around the corner. And then all of a sudden you have half a dozen of them flying and mobbing someone. Okay, let's see. Next up, we've got... I don't know what this one is. This is new. Is this unread messages? I don't know if Wazy is still here, but I think this is unread messages. I'm going to assume it's either that or like Sarlad saying spam. Nobody likes either unread messages or spam or notifications. Okay, Wazy says notifications. Yeah, same thing. Like unread messages, notification alerts. Yeah, those suck. Not a fan. Next up, we've got the algorithm. Algorithm. Sounds like a rhythm game song. YouTube algorithm specifically sucks. Nobody likes the YouTube algorithm. No one understands it. No one's going to tell us how it works. Anyone who's a big content creator that relies on monetization is at the mercy of that thing. And yeah, it blows. I won't defend that at all. Next up, yellow mustard. Yellow mustard is gross. I have been on record saying I don't like ketchup and mustard. Yellow mustard is probably the one I don't like in any of its forms. Honey mustards, Dijons, stone grounds, fine. I like them on a lot of different things like sandwiches, burgers, and whatnot. But yellow mustard. Don't like those. Sarlat says, "What's the difference between mustard and yellow mustard?" Yellow mustard's got a pretty distinct flavor. There's like this is Heinz here, but there's like French's yellow mustard. Typically, what you see on hot dogs at like ballparks or sporting events, it's just kind of like a basic mustard flavor, and that's what I don't like. But like a honey mustard or Dijon or stone ground that has more flavor and it's not just like a yellow tangy thing. Those are all great. I just don't like yellow mustard. A good spicy hot honey mustard is great. But yeah, yellow mustard and ketchup, not a fan. Eric says honey mustard goes pretty hard with veggies. Yeah, and as a salad dressing and as a dip for stuff like fries. Since I don't eat ketchup, honey mustard or hot sauce are my dips for fries or nuggets. Next up, this is what is this? Spaghetti cable nightmares. Uh, yeah, that's a strong dislike. I am guilty of having setups like this in some of my older computer builds, way back in the day, especially when I was in school. Now, the way I avoid this is just by using those alligator clips, you know, those black metal clips with the little prongs on the end. What I do is I bunch my cables together, and I use the large ones to keep them separate and bundled so that they're not all tangled in a mess. And that keeps it all organized. You just have to be careful not to actually crimp the cables and cut them off. If you use the large ones and just bundle them, or use a tie or a strap to keep them together, then it's really easy to avoid a situation like this picture here. But yeah, I remember one of the places I lived, we had a million game systems hooked up, and like the TV in back of the TV was like this. And I said, if I ever get my own place, I'm never doing that because it's just horrible. I don't think that's a controversial opinion. Next up, coffee. That's what I'm getting from here. This is just specifically coffee. Don't like coffee at all. I've mentioned before how I used to drink tea, but I don't like the flavor of coffee and coffee related things. It's also sort of in conjunction with the fact that I can't drink caffeine, but it's kind of like a you like it or you don't type thing. There are a bazillion Starbucks where I live. Corbreak says, I love the taste of coffee. Draft says, not a fan. Eric says, coughing these nuts. I don't drink tea either because, again, I don't drink caffeine anymore. But I don't know. Just the bitter and harshness of coffee. Starlight says, coffee and sweetbread or rice cookies. Yeah, I could see that. I would probably opt for tea in a situation like that, but I think it's the bitter and harshness of coffee I don't like. Next up, we have nails. Wazy clarifies, long nails? I have no opinion of these. I don't wear them. I'm not around people who have them. I guess down at the bottom, don't mind. My life choices never intersect with long nails. I see. Wazoo says, how do you type with those? Yeah, I could see that. I do know some people that have fake nails just type with their talons. I sure, I guess, but I personally have no horse in that race. I'm gonna put this on down here. It has no bearing on my life whatsoever. I used to spend a lot of time learning how to play guitar, and it does help to have longer nails for that, but not like this. These are like long faker acrylic nails. Draft says people who have long nails usually have caterpillars for eyelashes. Gotta have your eyelash and eyebrow game on point, I suppose. Next up, we have autonomous vacuum robots, like a Roomba. I have one, but it's not set up. It was given to me a long time ago, and I never bothered to set it up because I just vacuum my house periodically. But I don't have a problem with them. These are a bit tougher if you have pets. Having seen some pretty terrible stories of people who have like cats. Cats maybe not so much, but like dogs. Uh, I think I saw one picture on the internet where like a dog took a dump in the house while the owners were away and the Roomba was on and it just smeared the entire house. That's a nightmare. I don't think I would have one running if I had animals. But I don't. So pretty meh on Roombas. I should set mine up, but I have a lot of space where I live, so yeah. Next up we've got the dark. Is this just the dark in general, Wazy? I'm gonna put it up here on Don't Mind It. Fun fact. A free Raku factor you folks get for free. I can't sleep unless it's dark. If it's lighted or bright around, I can't sleep. As a result, most places I live have blackout curtains and stuff like that to keep light out so that I can actually sleep. Wazy says spooky dark. Core says, yo, Big Sam, I have a sleep mask. There's probably a reason why my circadian rhythms are completely whack, and it's most likely because I'm not around a lot of natural light. Usually in the warm season, when I have windows open, sometimes I'll leave my curtains open so that light gets in, but it causes me to wake up immediately once the sun comes up, so I have to plan for that. But yeah, it has to be dark for me to be able to sleep, so I can't have like a computer running 24/7 and my windows are usually covered. Next up, we've got Dr. Pimple Popper. Why is this on the list? And why do I even know what that is? That's a YouTube channel. That's no. That's going to the very bottom of this sucks. Why is that on here? I'm not going to dwell on that. Just no. Next up, we have doctors. This is doctors in general. I don't mind doctors. In fact, I just went to the doctor for the first time in like 3 years because of the pandemic back in January. And my doctor's pretty cool. He's a really chill guy and easy to talk to. I did have a doctor that I went to for a long time before that who was a lot more clinical. Like, I think he just wasn't really good with social interactions because whenever I'd go there, if I had a problem, he could definitely tell me how to address it or deal with it. But his bedside manner, as it were, was not great. He just kind of was there to talk about doctor stuff, and he wasn't very personable. So, like, I would only go to the doctor if there was something wrong or if I absolutely had to. But the one I'm going to now is a really chill guy, and he's just, this is mellow Asian dude. So I usually try and go to the doctor once a year. Now that the things are sort of normalizing a little bit, then I'll do that. So I don't mind doctors. I definitely think they're dealing with a lot of garbage because of the pandemic. Wazy says for the other ones, it's on there because I hate it. All right, fair. Draft says I don't have a regular doctor anymore ever since I turned 18. Core says my little sister's gonna be a doctor and she has the bedside manner of a broken glass bottle. Well, that's definitely something that happens. It's just not really conducive to making people want to go to the doctor. You know, if you're not personable, people aren't going to want to go and get regular checkups. They'll only go if there's like a problem. And I'm not going to get on the soapbox here, but having had family and other people deal with medical issues and stuff over the years, it's good to go to a doctor regularly, even if there's nothing wrong, just for regular checkups, because sometimes they can find stuff or stuff will come up that was not part of, any sort of problem or any, issue, but it's how you can catch things that could be big deals later. And I think that's a good idea. Also, if you have benefits that cover it too. I understand not everybody has insurance, especially in this country, but if you can afford it, going to the doctor and I'd say dentist regularly can save you some trouble later. And I say that as a person with a lot of dental issues. All right, the last one on the list. What is this? This is Promised Neverland? I have never seen it. I heard was it second season's really bad? First season was really good. Second season's bad. I don't know if there's a third season. I've heard a lot of people talk about this one. It's potentially on my list of things to watch eventually. Eric says, I don't go to the doctors. They do too many questions when I try and donate organs. Well, if you're trying to donate someone else's organs, I can see why. Of course, isn't blessed that I get to keep my parents' insurance, even though I'm almost 29 because I'm dependent on them because I'm disabled. That makes sense. Sour says, posted my thoughts on Twitter or Discord. I will have to take a look later. All right. I think this is it for things Wazy hates or is afraid of. The rest of these are duplicates. We've already put them on here. Oh, Wazy's taken off. I think she's streaming later. I will probably see her after we wrap up here. I do need to keep an eye on the time because it's D&D night. But we should have time to do the second one. But thanks for stopping by, Wazy. You can watch the VOD later and then yell at me for my bad opinions. Because I think what I'll do is I'll do the other one that she made and then I'll save some of these other ones for later. Because this one took a little bit longer than I would have thought. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. This is things Wazy likes. If anything, I'm going to get yelled at more for the stuff on here than the other one. All right. Maybe we'll save some time, and I'm going to separate out the things that I've either never tried or never heard of, and I'll shrink the list down. Nibs. Twizzlers product, I've never tried them. Look like licorice bits. Sounds fine, but never tried it. True Crime, never seen it. Final Fantasy VII, Have not played it. I own the remake. Have not played it yet. Let's see. What is this? Oh, drawing. Okay, that's fine. Voltron. This is the new Voltron. I've only seen a couple episodes, so I can't really judge that. Chainsaw Man. I've also not read it yet. Let's see. The Meme Guy. No Ladies. I've not seen that one. Fire Emblem, Three Houses. I've not played that. Dress with Pockets. Do not own any dresses. Oh, Castlevania. Okay. Everything else I can place on the list here. And the first one is avocado toast, spelled wrong. I'm not really a hipster, and I have tried it. It's fine. I don't eat breakfast usually, and I know it's a popular breakfast thing. I got no issue with avocado toast. It's kind of more of a trendy thing than anything else, but, you know, it's fine. Deviled eggs. I do like deviled eggs. Usually common to eat them at like Easter gatherings and stuff like that. Those are definitely pretty decent. Draft says steak, Pokemon, Megamind, plushes, shakes are the only things I like on here. Well, we'll get there. Core says I can't afford a house because I spend all my money on avocado toast. I see. That's fair. This is apple juice, Minute Maid. Yeah, those aren't oranges, I don't think. It's fine. I never drink apple juice straight up, but I use the regular off-the-shelf apple juice you can buy at the store to make cider in the fall. Like non-alcoholic brewed apple cider, I use that kind of juice for, so it's fine. Chocolate milk. Chocolate milk is also good. I don't drink it often, but I consider it pretty decent. Core's taking it off. It's bedtime. All right, Core. Thanks for tuning in and listening to my terrible opinions. I will catch you in the next stream, so hope you have a restful evening. Eric says, I can't afford a house because I can't stop making bombs. That sounds like a personal problem. And definitely not one I would have put into writing, but, you know, you do you, man. Sourlad says, lemonade sucks. It's a trap of endless thirst. Is there lemonade on here? Just looking at the list. I got no beef with lemonade. Scratch lemonades are better than stuff you buy off the shelf, though. Those are far too sweet, I will say. Next up, Sun Chips. Everything that's not the French onion Sun Chips are fine. I'd never buy them, but they're fine. Draft says, ever had carbonated lemonade? Lemonade type soda or like Mike's Hard lemonade products, I would also not recommend. Next up, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the original book series, not the recent movie, I assume. We have talked about this before on stream. They're really kind of scary stories for what are aimed at kids, but the art is rad in those books. Sarlad says, I'm that's completely different. I'm talking about the average lemonade, water, sugar, and lemon. It might sound like a weird combination, but one of my favorite ways to make lemonade is with rosemary. And what you do is you take a bunch of sprigs of fresh rosemary, not dried, and you take the sprigs and you boil them in water and sugar to make a simple syrup. And you boil them for like an hour or so. Then strain off all of the rosemary bits, get all the individual needles and everything out. And then you mix the simple syrup that's infused rosemary flavor with fresh squeezed lemon juice and water, and you make your lemonade that way. It's really good. You get kind of this herb herbal kind of flavor, and then the tangy sweetness. It's good stuff. I used to make that when I worked in the kitchen. Very refreshing in the summer. Had I not killed my rosemary plant, then I'd be able to make some, but I'm pretty sure it's dead. Next, and that's unfortunate. Next up, we have macarons. Those are good. They tend to be expensive, but if you're out and about and can afford to throw down a few bucks on a nice dessert, they have different flavors, and I like the light texture. I want to learn how to make these when I get a handle on baking. From what I read, that it's not too hard. It's just if you do a couple things wrong, you could screw up your entire batch, and that kind of sucks. Next up, bubble tea, or like boba drinks. Also quite good. Back when I lived in a major city, we had places for boba all over. They're very common. Where I live now, I think the one near where I live went out of business. So I actually have to go a distance to get them, which sucks. But if they were nearby, I would definitely get them in the warm season when it's hot. Sour Lad says, I recommend San Pellegrino lemon, top tier drink on my list. So that's like a lemon sparkling water. Draft says, I hate boba. Oh, that's a shame. I like milk teas and slushies and stuff with the boba and the coconut jelly. Those are quite good. Next up, chinchillas. I don't know why these are on here. I have no opinion on chinchillas. I've never known anyone who's owned them as pets. I think they're fairly popular, but pretty neutral or no opinion on those. Next up, we have Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur was my go-to starter in the old games back when Pokemon was brand new. Even though it wasn't technically the strongest. Sarlat says sparkling lemons, very good. That makes sense. Draftswine says, I don't know, my tongue is built differently. Yeah, I guess the question like Sour is asking is it the boba pearls you don't like or the actual drinks? Because usually the drinks are like a milk tea or sometimes they're like a fruit slush. There's billions of flavors of drinks. But if you don't like the soft cassava tapioca pearls, then yeah, you're probably gonna not get much out of a bubble tea drink. Next up, we've got sushi. Sushi is god tier. That is the very top of the list. It's one of my favorite foods. In fact, I think I'm going to order some ramen and some sushi rolls for dinner because I don't have time to cook anything before D&D. But yeah, we did a sushi tier list way back. I think still on YouTube. But yeah, one of my favorite types of food. I could eat that every day. Zarlad says mango slush. And Draft says, in regards to boba drinks, both the drinks and the pearls, not a fan. That's fair. It's not for everybody. Next up, cryptids. Cryptids are cool. I think Wazy put this on here because of her love for cryptids, which you can see in her spooky sushi project. I'm I definitely think cryptids and sort of urban legend type creatures and lore are really fascinating because they differ wildly by culture. I think this is the Fresno night crawlers in her picture here. But yeah, I dig cryptids. They're cool. Sour Lad says, "Would you try pufferfish if it was 100% safe and made by a certified chef? Fugu? Yeah, I would try it. Not outside of Japan, but like in spots in Japan that specialize in making it and are certified by the all of the regulations. Sure, I'd try it." Draftsline says, "Nothing from the ocean or any body of water will ever touch my young." I am a big seafood fan, and fortunately, where I live on the West Coast is an area that gets good seafood because again, it's on the coast, and as a result, there's lots of good places for stuff like sushi and whatnot. Next up, we've got bikes. I used to ride exercise bikes at the gym. I don't. Well, actually, I do have a bike, but it's old and it's probably need to be maintained if I want to actually take it anywhere. But I don't mind bikes. Oh, I see. Draft says, "Nothing from the ocean or any body of water will ever touch my tongue, not young." Gotcha. Let's see. Moving on. Showers. Showers are good. I like showers. This is a question to pose to chat for you folks that are hanging out. Are you a nighttime or a morning time shower person? It's always an interesting question I like to ask people just to see what they say. Silence says cold or hot. Hot showers. I can't do cold. Are you kidding me? Maybe in the hot season when it's really warm, cold showers are all right. But uh, I am a nighttime shower person. The idea of going to sleep dirty is abhorrent to me. So I take a shower before I go to sleep. I see Sarlat says morning. Draft says night. I think cold showers make more sense for people who shower in the morning, like Sarlad's saying, as a way to wake yourself up. That's legit. I can understand that, but I do not like the feeling of just being freezing cold. And this is kind of a Raku factor you guys are gonna get for free. When I was very small in Homeworld, I had kind of a semi-traumatic experience learning how to swim in a pool, and as a result, cold water, like being hit by cold water when I can't see, kind of freaks me out a little bit, and that's why I don't like cold showers to some extent. Uh, if I go swimming, I have to be able to see without having otherwise I'll have a panic attack. So I usually use goggles or whatnot, and then I'm fine. But if I can't see and I'm being hit in the face with cold water, it sort of freaks me out a little bit. Hot water, perfectly fine. I could sit there in front of a hot water shower all day, but cold water is a little bit dicey. Draft says, "I don't trust myself to not fall in the shower at 5 a.m. in the morning." Yeah, I feel that. Uh, I don't physically wake up till like 10 in the morning, even though I have to start at 6 o'clock for my job. So I hear that. Let's see. Next up, we got bed. Bed is going to go up near above showers because sleep is awesome and I don't get enough of it. I see Dresswine says thalassophobia gang. I had to really quickly Google what that is. I know it has to do with water. But fear of large bodies of water such as ocean of sea. I don't have thalassophobia. Um, I've spent a lot of time around water, and so things like beaches, lakes, the ocean don't bother me. Uh, I am a little bit wary of like going out far out because I don't consider myself a super strong swimmer. But as far as like being out, just like drifting around on in the ocean or being in the water, doesn't bug me. I spend a lot of my time around water. It's just like cold water when I can't see is the two combinations of factors that freaks me out in the water. Everything else is fine. Sour Lad says I sleep on a couch. And Sour Lad says I do be fishing. Oh, I fished a lot more when I was younger. I don't live immediately near any bodies of water. I don't have any gear for it. Uh, but Draft says in regards to thalassophobia, good for you. Don't take me. If anything, what I'm a little bit more wary of in large bodies of water isn't the water itself or like drowning. I have been sort of raised to be wary of riptides after hearing stories of that happening to people, but it's the animals in the water that give me a little bit more cause to be wary than just the water itself. You know, things like sharks, even though I think sharks are cool, I'm always a little bit wary to make sure they're not around. Um, and other things like jellyfish or Portuguese man of war. Again, I've been to Hawaii a few times, and those are things to watch out for. But unless they're having like a big invasion, usually not enough to ruin a trip. Okay, let's keep going. Keeping up the trend of outdoor stuff, we have hiking. I don't really like hiking that much, but I'll do it if I'm in like the area or people want to go. But I'm not really an outdoors person in general, so I'm gonna put it down here near the bottom. I actually live in an area that's really good for hiking. I just don't do it very often. Next up, fire. Is this campfires or just fires in general? Fine. I don't mind fires. Good for camping. Sour Lad says it's not fun if you trip or get hurt. Where I live, there are large predators that live in the woods. Bears, mountain lions, coyotes. So that is a risk if you go out hiking in the more remote areas. So that's another reason why I'd be much more likely to go and walk around like an outdoorsy or residential area than go up in the woods, especially not by myself. Draft says, I remember I was swimming in a beach in Mexico and couldn't see 20 feet away from me, but saw $100 worth of pesos under the water, so I swam towards it. But a giant fish appeared, at least bigger than me, maybe a gulper, appeared from the murky water and scared the living Jesus out of me. Later learned it was poisonous. Maybe 6 feet long. It's probably good that you missed it. Maybe like a rockfish or something. Yeah, that's no good. I think those are probably the ones that have the poisonous spines that people step on. Sarlat says, when I was younger, I felt a large rock under my feet and went to pick it up. It was a large crustacean and scared me to death with its large claws. So like a crab or some sort of shellfish. They're not on the list here, but another creature that's really interesting to me are horseshoe crabs. They look like aliens, and they're harmless, but they're kind of freaky looking. All right. Now we got drawing. I do like drawing. I'm not very good at it, but I do like doing it. I wish I had more time to draw. Draftswine says now hit the open water as a result of the fish encounter. Sarlad says horseshoe crabs with their medical blue blood. Yeah, they're a really unusual creature. Again, they look like aliens. They've existed for millions of years, but they're harmless. They won't hurt you in any capacity. They're just very unusual and kind of weird. All right. Next up, we got Coffee Crisp. This is another Canadian candy, which I also got to try recently. What I mentioned before a while ago is Wazy and I did a snack exchange of sorts where we each sent packages to one another with local or regional candies and some other stuff, and we tried them out. And Coffee Crisp was one of the ones that we tried, or that she sent me, and it's good. It's basically like a kind of crispy Kit Kat dipped in chocolate, like a Kit Kat, but has a really light coffee flavor. And I don't like coffee, but it was pretty subtle, and I liked it. So she can stop yelling at me to try Coffee Crisp because I finally tried it. Sourlad says, so some lakes and rivers are fine in regards to draft and open water. It's a good question. Next up, we've got milkshakes. I like milkshakes. I don't think that's a controversial opinion. I think I prefer flavored milkshakes over malts, but if I'm faced with either one, fine. It's good dessert. Next up, we have a Dick Dick. This is like a. Is that a marsupial or considered like a. It's a four-legged animal. They're fine. They have a funny name. Next up, we have cats in general. This is a picture of Tattle, I think. I believe the entry is just for cats in general. I like cats. They're cool. Sarlad says, anyways, Biodaku, see it Wazi stream. All right, Sarlad, I will try and pop in there later. I've got a little bit of time for D&D night. We'll be wrapping up after this tier list, so I'll probably take everyone who's still hanging out here and just dump them into Wazi stream with the raid. But thanks for showing up. I saw that you posted your tier list in the Toxicure Discord. So yeah, feel free for the rest of you to put your opinions out there. Let me paste this one in here. You can do this one that Wazi likes here, if you get a spare minute. Okay, next up we got the anime series Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann is awesome. One of my favorites. Definitely top tier. I recommend this one to a lot of people if you want a good mix of action and interesting story and characters. And then following up on the anime or game trend, we have Persona 4. Persona 4 is probably my favorite modern RPG in like the more recent generations. I do like it quite a bit, and I do like Ultimax, the fighting game, which we should get back to at some point. But yeah, Persona 4 is great. If you can get a copy of Persona 4 Golden on Steam, I highly recommend playing it. It's a good game. Next up, we have a Digimon. This is Vmon, right? This is Wazi's son. I have no horse in that race. It's fine. This is a little blue gremlin dinosaur man. overall, I don't have a ton of history with Digimon, but they're fine. I remember the first two seasons of the TV show. That's about it. I haven't played the games really. Next up, we've got a little bit hard to see because of the back dark color scheme, but we have Fallout Boy, the band. I am probably going to get in trouble for this one, but I do not like Fallout Boy. I've never liked anything that band has done aside from Sugar We're Going Down because of its funny lyrics. But I've been on record saying I don't like emo music because I don't have history with it, and in general, their older big hits never really jived with me. So yeah, Fallout Boy will populate the This Blows tier list, and that's fine. I can defend that decision. Next up, we got plushes. Just in general, plushes as a product. Fine. I have spent a decent amount of money on plushes from various properties. I have a decent amount of Monster Hunter plushes that I've collected over the years. What is this? Our flag means death. Is that a band? Or is that a TV show? Do the Googles. I think it's a TV show. Yep. I've never seen it, so I have no idea. Next up, of course, she's going to put Worms on a String here. I remember Worms on a String from a long, long time ago. They're fine. They take a little bit to figure out the gimmick and how to make them do all the crazy stuff, but you can impress your friends. So I got no beef with Worms on a String, the unofficial mascot of the Toxicure channel. Let's see. Next up, Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is an awesome movie. If you've never seen it and you like sort of tongue-in-cheek British humor, I highly recommend it. Without getting into spoilers, this movie swerves so hard it's really difficult to see coming. And I highly recommend it. Next up, Butts. Is that a picture of a peach? Butts. I don't mind Butts. Not my first choice of my body part. I don't know. I'm not a butt guy, but I can respect the fandom. I don't know. I can respect people who like butts. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's see. Next up, hot tubs. I don't mind hot tubs. I don't own one, and they're kind of a pain to keep up and expensive, but you know, it's fine. All right, we got two more real quick before we rank the last two and wrap up for the session. I'm gonna go run to the little Odaku's room and fry some chicken. I'll be back in 1 sec. All right. We have two more entries on this tier list. We got rare steak. I don't think I've talked about my preferences on steak at all on stream. Maybe it's come up in conversations with other people, but rare steak is going up here on this rocks because I'm the type of person who likes rare to medium, more erring on the rare side for my steak. And for a long time, when I was a bit younger, the only steak I ever had was well done. You know, like really well cooked, not overdone per se, but pretty well cooked and not medium, not rare or anything. And that was all I had. And it wasn't until a bit later in Earth School where I was introduced to rare steaks cooked properly, and it changed my life. That was the moment everything sort of shifted, and that became my preference for steak. And yeah, I'm not gonna hate on someone who likes well done steak, but to me, the idea of retaining, a bit more of the moisture and a better texture and something that's kind of tough and close to being overcooked, there's no comparison to me. But I'm not necessarily gonna soapbox here and say you're a bad person if you like well done steak. It's just I never realized there was a difference until I tried it, and now I can never go back. And let's see, last entry on the list here is the Netflix anime for Castlevania. And I watched this a couple years ago now, much later after it had already started coming out. I watched it when the third season was airing. And I really liked it. So I'm going to put Castlevania up here on the This Rocks tier. Considering Castlevania as a property has not been treated too well by Konami, seeing a really high quality adaptation with good art, good characters, good story was really fun and refreshing to see. And so I really enjoy the Netflix Castlevania. Given how hit or miss some of their adaptations can be, I'm glad this one turned out well. I'm curious to see if they end up doing spin-off series in the future. I'll definitely tune into those. But I think that will do it for this tier list. Again, the first one we did, if we look back through what we ranked here on today's chill stream, the things Wazy hates tier list ended up being a much bigger discussion than I would have expected. I thought we'd blaze through this one real quick. The things she likes, I don't think it's too controversial. I'll have to paste these in Discord and see how bad I get yelled at for these opinions, but there's two other ones I want to cover in the future, and what I'll do is I'll bookmark them and put them on the list for things to cover. One of them is fruits. This is fruits plus Asian fruits, I guess. And the other one is vegetables. I do have a lot of opinions on both of these, and so next time we do a tier list stream, it'll probably focus on both of these two tier lists. The fruit one's got a pretty good selection of stuff, and the vegetable one has even more. I don't know why tomatoes are on here. Tomatoes are a fruit, not a vegetable. But I'll put a pin in these for the future. But that said, we will go ahead and wrap up. Let's see who's online. Okay, yeah. I'm going to raid Wazy, so anyone still left hanging out here, we will go over and raid her channel. I believe she is co-hosting with Ramen this evening. So let us do that. We'll pause the BGM, and we will go ahead and go to the outro. So thanks to all the folks who stopped by and chimed in on the tier lists. These are always fun, just to get some opinions and see where people's preferences lie on the big scale here. But we'll definitely do another one of these soon. Of note, I will be streaming on Thursday. We will be starting a new playthrough with a co-host. I haven't done a dedicated co-host playthrough since we finished God Hand. So we'll be starting a new one. I'm not going to say who my co-host is going to be for that playthrough, but chances are you could figure it out because we've talked about it before. But that said, we will go to the outro. And we will go raid Wazy and see what she's up to. So thanks again for hanging out, folks, and I'll catch you in the next one.